Konstantinos Kostis writes, "Hey guys, I've been watching your show for several months. I loved Man of Steel, but does it, along with the Dark Knight trilogy, verify that Marvel is more true to the comics than DC?"
Okay, thank you so much for the question. But I gotta tell you, it's this type of question that gets me frustrated. Because we say this all the time. The question is asked as if there's some importance to being true to the comic. There's not. There is no importance to staying true to the comic when it comes to small details. Not important at all. Because comic books are comic books, movies are movies, they're two totally different mediums, and you say, stay true to the Wolverine story. Well, which Wolverine story? There's like 18 different variations of the Wolverine story as you go back to the 60s, looking at the dude. Stay true to the Superman costume. Which Superman costume? There have been like 25 different variations of the Superman costume in the comic books alone, so which one are you talking about staying true to? It's not important. I've said this before. The only thing that's important is take the key essential elements to who the character is and make sure you bring those to the big screen. Is Marvel more true to the comics than DC? Well, let's look at Man of Steel for a second. In the comic book, here are the key essential elements to Superman, all right? He is a child born of a foreign alien planet, Krypton, to a father named Jor-El, of a dying planet. The father, to save his son, sends his son off to planet Earth. When he crash lands on Earth, he's found by Ma and Pa Kent, who raise him to hide his identity, protect him, and keep him safe out of fear that the world wouldn't accept him yet. He grows up, discovers who he is by finding alien technology, that he is Superman, and he's destined to kind of lead mankind into a brighter age and stand for truth, justice, and the American way. That's the key essential elements from the comic book. Does Man of Steel do that? Yes! Note for note, it gets all those key essential elements. Lois Lane didn't have brown hair. Who cares? It's not important. And if you pretend like it's important, you have no freaking clue what you're talking about. Oh, Lois Lane shouldn't find out he's Superman so soon. It doesn't matter. That's not important. That's not a part of the key essential elements to the story and who Superman is. I've already listed off what the key ones are. Did Man of Steel follow it? Absolutely. Let's look at The Dark Knight. Bruce Wayne is a child born of a very rich family who brutally has to watch his family murdered in front of his eyes. He grows up with that scarring who he is, and he creates a facade. He learns everything he can about how to fight evil and whatever. At some point, through a traumatic experience he had in a cave with bats, he adopts his new ego of Batman, who starts to terrorize those who terrorize others. That's the key essential elements to who Batman is. Does Batman Begins and The Dark Knight follow those key essential elements? Absolutely it does. Oh, the Joker doesn't do this. Who cares? That's not important. It's not the key essential element. This ain't the comic books. This is the movies. This is what works. So... And I can say the same things about Thor. I can say the same things about Captain America. So when you ask me, oh, does Marvel stay more true to the comics or does DC stay more true to the comics? The answer is it doesn't matter because it's an irrelevant comparison. It doesn't matter. Just take the key essential elements to who the characters are and make the best movie that you can. In the case of Captain America and Iron Man and Thor and the Avengers and Batman Begins and The Dark Knight and Man of Steel, they all do that. They take the key essential elements and make great movies, and that's all that counts. Dennis, I ranted on this for a bit. Now you're going to contradict everything I just said?
No. I just think it's funny. It's like, are people forgetting the backlash about Mandarin from Iron Man 3, you know?
Yeah.
Like, because they didn't stick to the comic book there, and there was a huge uproar. Well, not amongst the regular audience, but the hardcore comic book fan audience. And people went nuts over that. I think... the difference between Marvel and DC movies is that DC wants to take this more realistic approach, gritty, darker in tone, especially now that we see Man of Steel is going that way as well, you know, like Batman did. And with Marvel, it's a little more lighthearted and fun. And I think probably the things that they're complaining about have to do with because DC wants to make it a little more realistic, that certain details they're going to have to take out, you know what I mean?
Sure.
You know, they're not going to have Crypto the dog, you know, and stuff like that.
Thank God.
Why not? No, just kidding.
So, yeah, I think that's what the difference is as opposed to the whole staying true to the comic book thing.
Yeah, I agree.